So we already have discussed different aspect of analog electronics so far. So let us start with the filters, which is also a very important part. So maybe briefly I have discussed regarding these filters previously, but let us see what are the detailed analysis of a filter. So these are the typical filters that we use. One is low pass, high pass, band pass, and band reject. So in case of low pass filter, from the name itself, it is very evident that this particular filter will allow lower frequencies and will stop the higher frequencies beyond a certain point. So FH is the frequency beyond which this filter will stop all the signals. Okay. Similarly, you will see in case of high pass filter, this filter allows frequencies beyond a certain point, just opposite to the low pass filter. Low pass filter stops the signals beyond a certain frequency. However, in case of high pass filter, you will see that the filter is allowing the signals beyond a certain point. So in this case, this is known as FL. And band pass and band reject filters are nothing but a combination of high pass and low pass filter. If you see the band pass filter, it allows a certain band of frequency from F1 to F2. Anything which is not in that band will not be allowed. So this is called band pass filter. Similarly, band reject filter is, this filter allows all the frequencies but do not allow the particular band. From F1 to F2 there is no signal available. So these are the typical 4 filters. And there is another filter called all pass filter, which allows everything, which is known as all pass filter. All pass filter. In case of all pass filter, the filter allows every frequency. Now there is a question that obviously people will ask, then why you need an all pass filter? So this filter is actually related to the phase. Okay, so it helps in changing phase. It works in the phase domain. Okay, it allows all the frequencies, but there are some applications specifically which requires a change in phase and etc. In that case we use all pass filter. But anyways, the basic 2 filters are low pass and high pass filter. So we will discuss low pass and high pass mostly in this course. There are different other filters also. So filters can be analog, filters can be digital as well. Once you study communication theory, signal processing or signals and system, you'll find there are a lot of digital filters as well. But the concept of filter is kind of analog. So digital people mimic the transfer function associated with analog filters. So we can say that filters are still an analog component. Okay, but there are digital filters as well. For your information, it's not like all the filters are analog. Okay, so if you see an filter characteristics, this is a typical filter characteristics for a low pass filter. So ideally the characteristics should be something like this as shown. There should be a cutoff as I showed here, right? As it in the plot it is shown that after a certain frequency there should be a sharp cutoff, but in practice you will see this type of sharp cutoff is not possible. We will discuss in a while. And apart from this, you will find that there are some ripples associated with the signal which gradually decreases, and once it goes close to 0, there is another kind of ripple you will see. Okay, so first it starts with a ripple, gradually decreases, and again there is some ripple. In most of the cases we consider this is a single frequency ripple, because if you put complexity in ripple, then again there will be complexity in the analysis. So as of now we will consider this is a single frequency ripple. That means the frequency of the ripple is fixed. Okay, and if you see this filter now, in case of the low pass filter, it's now the characteristics something like this, right? So this particular area is known as pass band. Now from where it is the transition is happening is known as transition band, and then when it is blocking the signal we call it stop band. So the ideal characteristics of a low pass filter or any filter has three different zones. One is pass band, transition band, and stop band, and there are ripples associated with that. There are ripples associated with the filters. Now in ideal case, what we want, the ripple to be 0. There is no ripple present in the filter characteristics. There is no transition band, so your transition band should be very low, or ideally should be equal to 0, and there should not be any ripple. Okay, so similarly if you see a band pass filter characteristics, this is the stop bands, and then you have ripples, then you have a transition band here, again ripples, again transition band, and then you go for a stop band. Now in practice you probably may need characteristics of your own choice. Probably you need something like Gaussian, and you want to follow these transfer characteristics. Now the easiest way to follow a mathematical function is to use polynomial. What is polynomial? Like a0 plus a1x square, sorry, a1x plus a2x square plus a3x cube. So if you use a polynomial, you can very easily follow a characteristics. So that's why you will see that in certain cases people want the transfer functions in terms of different polynomials. Okay, so this is the ideal and practical case of filters. You have ripples, you have a transition band as well. Now your game of filters will be based on this ripples and transition band. In certain cases you may need a sharp transition, and in certain cases you don't want the ripples. Now there are some filters which actually helps to reduce these ripples, but in that case you need you have a large transition band. Okay, and in certain case you will find you can reduce the transition bands, but you have to deal with the ripples present in the characteristics. Okay, so let us start with a simple RC network, passive network. In this case you have R and you have C, and this is V in, this is your V out. Now I also have done something similar previously in previous slides. So if you see that your V0s by V in S, that is the transfer function, is similar to 1 by Cs divided by 1 by Cs plus R, or you can write 1 divided by 1 plus RCS as it is shown here. So if you arrange it a little bit, the transfer function will be something like this. So you have a pole at 1 by RC, right? So for low pass filter, what we need a pole, because pole will make sure that your transfer function is going down, right? So in this case you have a pole at 1 by RC, so your transfer function will look like this. This is your gain at 1 by RC. You have a minus 2 dB per decade decrease in the transfer function. So the transfer function is decreasing at a rate of 20 dB per decade, not minus 2, it's minus 20 dB per decade. Okay, it's minus 20 dB per decade. Okay, now this is your transfer function of low pass filter, which is more or less close to the ideal case. Ideally it should be sharp like a rectangle, but in this case you have a slope, right? Now what is your target? What should be your target? Your target should be to bring these characteristics close to this ideal situation, right? So this is your low pass filter using an RC circuit. Now if you want an active version of this, what you do? You attach an voltage follower before the output. Now what this voltage follower will do? This voltage follower is nothing but a buffer. Now if you use this buffer, it will help to detach your input and output, right? Otherwise the output may influence your filter. So this will help to detach your input and output. I also have discussed this thing previously. So this is your active filter. Now in this case, there is no gain. But if you add some resistance in the feedback, you will get some sort of gain as well. So active filter will be able to provide you unfiltering as well as some sort of gain associated with that. Okay, so this is what an active low pass filter will look like. Now similarly, you'll find the high pass filter is nothing but another RC network where you have interchanged the position of R and C. In case of low pass filter, you had R in here, C in here, but in case of high pass filter, you have just replaced the R with C and C with R. So you have C and then you have R here. So your transfer function will look something like R divided by R plus 1 by CS. So RCS by RCS plus 1. So you have a 0 at S equal to 0. 0 means there is an increase in the transfer function at a rate of 20 dB per decade. So you have an increase, and then you have a pole at 1 by RC. So at 1 by RC, you have an increase of plus 20 dB per decade. Then you have a decrease of minus 20 dB per decade. So these two will provide you a resultant constant transfer function. So this is basically nothing but your high pass filter. So from the characteristics, you can see that in case of high pass filter, it is something like S divided by S plus A. However, in case of low pass filter, it was like 1 divided by 1 plus S. Okay, in terms of transfer function, I'm saying. So similarly, if you make an active filter, active high pass filter, you use an voltage follower before the output. So you attach your RC network with a voltage follower circuit. Okay, so this is more or less your high pass and low pass filter. Now let us see a generalized filter. When I say a generalized filter, I mean that you have certain arrangement wherein you can place or change certain parameters, and this may give you an high pass, low pass, whatever you want. Okay, so this is a generalized two-pole active filter. When I say two-pole, that means you can expect an S square term in the denominator of the transfer function. Now if you see in this plot, or in case of low pass filter, say if you want something which is close to an ideal case like this, what you need multiple poles in this point. Say if you have two poles in the single point, the slope of this will become minus 40 dB per decade. If it is 3-pole, minus 60 dB per decade. If it is 4-pole, minus 80 dB per decade. That means it has become steeper and steeper. So it will be close to that ideal case, right? So a two-pole system will provide you a better solution in case of filter, right? So in this generalized two-pole active filter, you have y1, y2, y3, y4. This is the typical generalized network for a two-pole system. Now once you have something like this, you can call it a semi-custom. That means you just need to change y1, y2, y3, y4 the parameters, and you will get whatever you want. So it's kind of, my structure is ready. Once a person comes and says that I need these values, then you can change y1, y2, y3, y4 and give him the filter, right? So in certain cases in analog also you have some semi-custom things available, but as we progress you will understand that this is not an ultimate solution. Okay, this is kind of a low cost solution. Okay, somebody wants something, you don't want to put much effort, or it's the person who wants this doesn't have enough budget to make a better filter. Okay, use this generalized filter and give him a solution, something like that. So that's why I'm showing this generalized two-pole active filter. Okay, this will give you an idea that okay, we have something ready, a low cost one. So you will find some clients will ask you some solution without spending much money. So it's something like that. Okay, so in this case you have y, which can be written as g equal to jb, which is nothing but the opposite of z, the impedance that we discussed earlier, which is r plus jx. So g is nothing but 1 by r. Okay, so if you see this circuit and consider the node VA and VB, and then you can write that in node A, what are the currents? The major current is from Y1, that is V in minus VA divided by Z if it is a Z, but it's opposite of that. So you can write V in minus VA into Y1. I think you are getting my point. So if it is Z1, then what would be the expression? V in minus VA divided by Z1, but 1 by Z1 is equal to Y1, as I've said. So in this case the current is V in minus VA into Y1, then it is dividing in two different sections. So this will be equal to VA minus VB into Y2, and similarly what is the value here? It's V0. So the other current will be VA minus V0 into Y3. So this is your one equation. Similarly at node B you have another equation, which is, first this is the current VB minus VA into Y2. This is one current, and there is no current in this direction because current doesn't go inside the op-amp, as I have already described previously. So this current is equal to VB into Y4. So you have second expression, and your third expression is your VB is equal to V0 because you have a voltage follower sitting. So this is V0, that means this one is also V0. Now as I have discussed previously, kind of V minus is equal to V plus in case of op-amp. So if this part is V0, your VB also will be V0. Now look at one thing. If you have op-amp sitting over here, then these equations are valid. Otherwise you can't use these kind of assumptions. So presence of op-amp is very much necessary. Okay, so if you do some calculations, arrange those equations, then you will find you have a transfer function V0s divided by V in S is equal to Y2 Y1 divided by Y1 Y2 plus Y1 plus Y2 plus Y3 whole into Y4. So you will find a transfer function similar to this. Just do some sort of arrangement and you will find your equation is something like this.